We're all watching The Voice this season for the seventh time around, and Brian Clores, who won our contest last year, joins me to talk about now that we've done the battle rounds and we've seen all of the original blind auditions. We're getting a little bit more feel of who's good and who's just tolerable. Brian, let's talk about this season, though. I think it's the best set of judges they've had yet. Pharrell is just on fire. And I didn't know what to think of Gwen Stefani because she's not really all that relevant anymore, but I think she does a really good job as well. What do you
Yeah,
think?
I think they're certainly the best set of coaches that we've had so far. Pharrell, I expected that from him. He's one of the, if not the biggest name in music on all sides, and I think him being the producer that he is really helps the show a whole lot. Gwen, I think is doing fine. I don't think she has a really that strong a team, but overall, I think this is the best in terms of the coaches.
The problem with Pharrell, and I like him a lot, I think he's just a good person. You could tell he's compassionate and he will be critical, but not in a mean way. The problem I found during the blind auditions was people want to work with him so bad that he was really dominating those blind auditions. If he turned his chair around, he pretty much got who he wanted.
Yeah, he did very, very well. Those like four chair turns that Adam usually gets a whole lot of, Pharrell was taking many of those. And also he wasn't really trying that hard. People just wanted to work with him. He would say the very nicest things about the other coaches and they would still go to Pharrell.
Well, the thing about that too, now that we've had the first few battle rounds, I've noticed almost not in every case, but a lot of the Pharrell people that he would not choose would immediately be stolen by somebody else because they knew how good they were.
Yeah, that seems to be the case. Pharrell and Adam, I think, have gone back and forth quite a few times.
One thing I have not liked, and I haven't watched every single season. I really got into it, I guess, like this past season and then now. But these Tuesday night shows where they don't show all of the battle rounds, that really gets on my nerves. Maybe those weren't very good, songs that were chosen or battles or whatever, but I don't see how the winners from those are going to get any traction with the at-home uh, voting members, the audience, here in a couple of weeks because they haven't been seen really at all.
Yeah, I feel the same way, and they do some of that with the blinds too. And maybe they do that with the knockouts. I'm not sure, but they've done that for quite a few seasons, and you just don't see them. And I get that there's not a lot of time for them, and certainly I don't want another like week or two of the blinds or or the battle rounds because it goes on for a very long time, and especially in those first couple of seasons, they went on for weeks. But there's a lot of filler in this show, and I feel like you could cut down a lot of stuff and put in all of those other performances and have plenty of time and have the same amount of episodes.
Well, the key to that has been that Monday night's a 2-hour show and Tuesday night's a 1 hour. NBC's not doing so well that they couldn't have a 2-hour Tuesday night, and that would accommodate those extra people.
Yeah, but I just mean just cutting down on, here's what this person did in the blinds, and here was their family situation, and like they spend like 10 minutes or so on every battle that they show, and it's a lot.
That's true. That's true. Well, let's talk about some individuals, and I guess let's start with Pharrell's team since it's so strong. And I've got that screen in front of me of who he's. See, he's eliminated only 3 people because even though I think he's had 6 battles because the 3 out of the 6 were stolen.
Yeah,
Who of all the people in Pharrell's team stands out to you the most?
I think I think Pharrell's going to win, and I'm not positive on who it's going to be, but for me at least, I think the person that stands out on Pharrell's team and on the whole thing is Luke Wade, who in the battle rounds did Maybe I'm Amazed, the Paul McCartney song, against Griffin, who then Blake stole. And also he was on like the promo for next week, uh, singing, I forget the song, but he really stands out to me. I think he's a little too similar to last season's winner, Josh Kaufman. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but they kind of, I think, have the same sort of style to them, but he really stands out. And then as far as the other ones, I mean, he's got a very strong team. Catrice Trinidad, who had that battle with I guess it was someone that Adam stole. With Blessing Offor. That was a really good battle, and I think I agree with Pharrell to keep Catrice. She was very good. I like Gene Kelly, who he stole from Gwen. I think she made a mistake there. And the reggae guy, Menlik, I think he's really good too. That I believe he stole from someone else. I forget, but he's got a really good team.
Yeah, even his steals are good. I agree with you on Luke Wade. What I was particularly impressed with on him and Griffin, who he was up against, their rehearsal was not going well at all.
Yeah.
Alicia Keys, and she makes one comment that loosens them up and changes the style of that song, and it was like goosebumps. I mean, it was just like, wow, this, and you could tell in the room the energy completely changed between the two artists as well as Pharrell and Alicia.
Yeah, I was going to mention that I think certainly Alicia Keys was the best advisor for the battle rounds out of all four of them. She really, I think, elevated all of those artists better than the other ones did, because sometimes they get advisors on here that really don't seem to do much, but Alicia seemed very game and seemed to do a very, very good job.
Well, I think Luke Wade could win this whole thing. That would be the one I would choose off Pharrell's team. In my article about Blessing and Catrice, I thought he should have kept Blessing. I think he did the better job, but I do see his point of Blessing was expected to do well on a Stevie Wonder song because that's his style, and Catrice really overperformed, over met expectations, and that's why he kept her.
Yeah, that seems to be a trend in The Voice, is that it's usually not the people that stand out early on that end up winning the thing or going very far. It's the people that have stamina and they grow with the show. I remember back in the early seasons with Trevin and Amanda that it was like season 3 or something. They were on CeeLo's team, and then Adam stole Amanda, and it was really, really good. And those were like the two front runners, and then they both got voted out like halfway through the live shows, and it did just seem to fade. Not that I necessarily agree with that, but I think it is about growth, and that's something that I think that is good about this season, is that there were really no like people that really stood out in like the blind auditions, and then so everyone just started to improve, and so in that respect it's hard to like pick out single people, but then on the other hand it seems like a lot of people are just growing and getting better, which is a really good sign.
Well, let's talk about Gwen. We've mentioned her a couple of times. I really like her as a person on this show. She's very compassionate as well. Her smile just lights up the room.
Yeah.
But I don't know that she's been the best. I think if she was coming back, which she's not, for a second or third season, she would learn a lot from some of her mistakes.
Yeah.
So she hasn't chosen all that well in the blinds, and she hasn't, even in her battle rounds, I don't know that she's always picked the better of the two.
Yeah, she hasn't done too well, and I think it is about experience. I mean, who knows what will happen in later seasons of The Voice? You get 2 of these a year, so they're going to be shifting coaches a lot. But I mean, it's a little bit of like what Shakira did. I think. I mean, I loved Shakira as a personality, and I think especially in her first season, she didn't do too great as a coach, and I think she got better. So if Gwen comes back, I think she'll do a lot better. But she seems to be doing a lot of the rookie mistakes that Pharrell is avoiding. So I don't know. I don't see how well she's going to do, and we'll see once we actually get to the live rounds when you can start voting for whoever you want, and teams get dwindled down, at a very fast rate. But I don't see her team going very far.
Who of hers, if anybody were, say, to make it to the final 3 or have a chance at winning, who do you think that would be?
I wrote down Troy Ritchie, and now I'm trying to. Oh, he was the one who battled Menlik, who was the reggae guy that Pharrell ended up stealing. They did a Man-Eaters in front of me. He stood out to me. That was the one. That was the hour-long on. That was last Tuesday, the end of last Tuesday's show. So that one was a really good one. They seem to. I don't know how they record these things. I know that they have everyone in the same outfit so that they can put the the battles in any order that they want for the actual broadcast for these pre-recorded ones. So they tend to put like the strongest ones at the beginning and end of each episode. And just looking at like the lineup of all of the battles, a lot of hers are like buried in the middle of episodes, which is not a great sign. But yeah, and also she lost out on a couple of really good steals. I'm looking at like who everyone picked for steals, and she stole quite a bit, but kept losing to Adam and Blake won. So
I don't know what the fit is going to be like, but looking at her lineup here, we haven't seen her actually work with Craig Wayne Boyd, who came from Blake's team. Sort of a country artist, but not completely. I don't know if they'll work well together, but he was very, very strong in his battle. So I think, and he's got that look and that style that if he does make it, say, to the top 10 and it gets into the live shows, I could see a fan base developing for him.
Yeah, that's one I wasn't a big fan of his, and but that's a very good point, because do not underestimate these country artists when they get into the live shows and when the country starts voting, because there is a whole chunk of the country that just votes for these types of artists that some of them are very strange, and it's, how do these people get to the finals? Blake has had a country artist get very far and, has won with one or two of them, but he's done very well with just, one or two artists, and now it's on Gwen's team, so who knows how that'll work, but yeah, we have to remember that he can get a specific fan base.
The other one on her team, you mentioned Jake Kaufman earlier, who won last year. Not in style, but this Taylor John Williams with the hat, and the hair, and the youthful. I mean, he really could galvanize some fan votes too, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. And also, it really depends on like who else is in the competition once you get to the live show. So if there's only like one artist that does a specific type of thing, they'll do well. If there's a couple, then you start, getting rid of some of them. But so if you can sort of carve out your own genre on the show, that seems to do very well. And that's one thing that actually for last night's episode, the last battle, Adam's two, both of them were similar singers, and they were both 4-chair turns, and conventionally speaking, you do not put two 4-chair turns against each other, but Adam's point was that these two are like both belters and have a similar sort of style, and I'm going to put them up against each other, and that takes a lot of courage to do that. And then one of them was stolen, but I think it's a very good strategy to have a very diverse team so that people feel the need to save all of them, rather than I remember a lot of years where Christina's top 5 were all loud pop singers, and that did not go over well. And
well, that is one thing Adam and Blake do well, I think, in the battle rounds, is they've realized. Well, Blake's even said, like on the guy we just mentioned, you're my two country guys. I can't have two moving forward.
Yeah, and Blake needs to have one country person that he goes forward with, and he'll make that decision soon.
Well, talking about Adam, the guy that stands out to me, well, I think there are several possibilities, and I'd be interested to see. There's some on his team that I think are very average. But this Matt McAndrew, who they even did a side after he won, was that Monday night? They even did that little peek in, to the four of them talking as they went into a break.
Yeah.
And Adam's going, he's a star. And I'm thinking, well, they wouldn't have said that if they don't already know that. I mean, Adam plans on taking this guy a long way.
Yeah, and also they've already recorded the knockouts and all of that, so all of them know, and NBC, they all know who's going to the live shows at this point. So I think they could, sneakily, feature a couple of people that they already know are going to advance to get, the country, used to those people. But yeah, that one, yeah, they sung a Coldplay song. That one, he was very good. Also on Adam's team, I think Damien is very strong. I think I think he'll get a pretty decent fan base, and also Toya Jones, who he stole from Pharrell, I think is very strong as well.
I agree. And on Matt, I mean, again, a young guy. Every time he opened his mouth in that duet, the girls were screaming.
Yeah, that's it.
And that was just the ones in the studio audience.
Right. Yeah. So wait till the live shows and hope.
I would be shocked if he doesn't make it to the final three.
Yeah, maybe.
Last team to talk about, Blake has won this thing, what, 3 times in the first 5 years.
Yeah.
Who stands out for you on that team?
Not many. I think Griffin is very good. Who he stole.
He's the kind, like you said before, nobody else does his style of music on this show.
Right.
I think Blake realizes that and will really point him in that direction.
Yeah. So I think he's very good, and also who she just performed last night, Reagan James. She just performed last night, and I think she has room to grow, and I think she'll be one of those that does pretty well. See, someone like the girl Taylor and Allison and Jessie, they all seem to occupy the same sort of space, and I don't know how much they're going to grow throughout the season, so it really is about unique artists.
That was a steal early on with Jessie I didn't understand. I mean, it's one thing if it's the final couple of nights and you know you've got a steal left and you know you don't know what's ahead, but to use one so early on somebody that I thought was marginal.
Yeah. It seems that was this Monday. It was early in the show on Monday that he stole from Adam, and then he was out of steals.
And then James David Carter, that's his country guy. That's when I was over at my parents' house watching that. My mother likes to watch the show, and I was wanting her to see, she had not watched that week, so I said, I want you to see this battle and tell me what you think, because I knew that one was stolen and one was staying, and she liked Carter a lot. She really felt like he could win this thing, and that would be the typical Blake final 3 country guy kind of guy.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, there's going to be, I mean, we know there's going to be one that's going to be very close to the end. There's going to be a country guy on Blake's team, so he's probably that guy.
Well, anything else you want to? I mean, we're heading into the knockout round. You and I will chat again after we see some of those. Anything else you want to add about the season so far?
I mean, I think it's a strong season. I think Pharrell is a real threat, and he's coming back next year too with Christina. So that'll be very interesting to see.
I'm not a big Christina fan.
I'm not either.
The thing I've always noticed on these types of shows, I'll even go back to like a Mariah Carey on American Idol, which I didn't watch, but I'll relate it to sports, which I follow passionately. You rarely in professional sports see a superstar go on to become a successful head coach. And the reason is they don't know the grind and the struggle of not just having natural talent.
Right.
Which most of your team in sports doesn't have. They have talent, but they don't have that natural Hall of Fame kind of talent. So when you get a Mariah Carey or you get a Christina Aguilera, I don't think because they're just born with that. Sure, they work on it, but they're born with it. They don't understand the struggle or the challenge of correcting things.
Yeah, and also Christina started when she was a teenager and got really, really big. So she doesn't even know about just having to do, a lot of it, just going on tour and doing the whole grind. Even, no doubt they started pretty early, but they still had to tour a whole bunch, and the same with Maroon 5. And so I think they know more about that kind of thing and how to help these artists, and obviously Pharrell does, because that's, he's mostly a producer in the past 10 years. That's what he's been doing. He's been behind the scenes. So I think they have a more natural inclination towards it. And also Christina, I'm just not a big fan of her personality. So
she seems above it all to me when I see her on the show.
Yeah, and I don't know how many of the viewers that they get are because of Christina Aguilera. I know that she gets paid a lot more than the rest of them do. But I mean, it's like The Voice is now synonymous with Adam Levine and Blake Shelton. Those are the 2 guys that have been through the whole thing. I think people are coming for them, and I don't think they're necessarily coming for Christina. I don't think they really care about that.
Well, they know whatever their internal numbers are. So, I mean, to have her gone a couple of seasons in a row and then bring her back, they must know something we don't know about, maybe what she's bringing in. Maybe it's a Latino audience. Maybe it's a youthful young girl audience that just grew up with her. I mean, I don't know. Some group out there is maybe not watching when she's not on.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, listen, Brian, I appreciate it. We'll talk again here maybe in a week or two, and hopefully you'll do well again on our prediction contest this year.
Yeah, let's hope so. Good to talk to you.